It was the year 1969, and the Vietnam War was at its height. A group of young soldiers, led by Lieutenant Jameson, had just been deployed to a remote area near the border. They were tasked with setting up a temporary base in a dense, uncharted jungle known as the Whispering Woods. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows, the soldiers could feel an unsettling presence in the air. The jungle seemed to come alive with an otherworldly chorus of whispers, almost as if the very trees held dark secrets. The team pushed forward, constructing their makeshift camp in a clearing surrounded by ancient, towering trees. On the first night, as the soldiers settled into their tents, the whispers grew more distinct, like hushed conversations just out of reach. Some heard their own names whispered in the darkness. Private Reynolds, a superstitious man, felt an icy hand brush his cheek as he drifted into sleep. The next day, they began routine patrols through the jungle, but an unshakable feeling of being watched accompanied them. Strange symbols, seemingly carved into the trees, appeared along their path. Lieutenant Jameson brushed them off as local superstitions, but even he couldn't ignore the growing unease. During a night patrol, the team stumbled upon an abandoned village. It was as if the inhabitants had vanished overnight, leaving behind empty huts and a chilling silence. But as they explored further, they discovered a hidden underground chamber. The walls were adorned with disturbing drawings, depicting nightmarish creatures and scenes of unimaginable suffering. The whispers seemed to emanate from the chamber itself. Private Thompson, an aspiring artist, felt a compulsion to sketch the symbols on the wall. As he did, he felt a strange connection to the horrors depicted, as if he was channeling the anguish of the past. As days turned into weeks, the soldiers' mental and physical states deteriorated. Some began to see apparitions of fallen comrades, lost in previous battles. Others experienced vivid flashbacks, as if they were living the lives of Vietnamese villagers caught in the crossfire. It became clear that the jungle held memories of countless lives lost to the horrors of war. One night, as a torrential rainstorm battered their camp, Lieutenant Jameson delved into the history of the area. He discovered that the Whispering Woods had been the site of a brutal battle, and a village had indeed existed there. The village had been caught in the crosshairs of conflict, wiped out by both sides in a desperate struggle. It became evident that the jungle itself was a living entity, haunted by the pain and suffering it had witnessed. The whispers grew louder, almost accusatory, as if the soldiers were intruding upon a realm they had no right to enter. It became a battle of wills, with each soldier confronting their own guilt, fears, and the atrocities of war. One by one, the soldiers faced their demons. Some made peace, while others were consumed. Private Reynolds, tormented by his superstitious beliefs, sacrificed himself to appease the jungle's vengeful spirit. His act of bravery seemed to weaken the malevolent presence. With the entity weakened, the surviving soldiers made a desperate escape from the jungle, carrying the weight of their experiences and the horrors they had witnessed. They left behind the Whispering Woods, forever changed by the encounter, haunted by the echoes of the battlefield. As they returned to base, the soldiers vowed to honor the memory of the forgotten village and the lives lost in its midst. They knew that the scars of war ran deep, extending beyond the physical realm, and that some wounds, like the whispers of the jungle, could never truly fade away. In the midst of the turmoil of World War II, a group of soldiers from different nations found themselves entangled in a nightmare that went beyond the horrors of war. The tale begins with Sergeant David Harris, a battle-hardened American soldier, being assigned to a secretive mission in the heart of occupied Europe. Harris and his diverse team were tasked with infiltrating a seemingly abandoned castle nestled deep within the Carpathian Mountains, a location rumored to hold valuable intelligence. The castle, shrouded in fog, seemed like something out of a nightmare. Its walls were weathered and crumbling, and the atmosphere was suffocatingly oppressive. As the team made their way through the grand entrance, strange symbols etched into the stone floor caught their attention. They brushed it off as the work of superstitious locals. Inside, they discovered signs of recent activity, a lit fireplace, freshly overturned furniture. The sense of being watched grew stronger, and a distant sound, like whispers on the wind, echoed through the corridors. Private Anna Kovac, a Czech resistance fighter, recognized the symbols as part of an old legend involving dark rituals and unspeakable evil. As the night fell, the team took refuge within the castle, seeking shelter from an encroaching storm. Private Ishikawa, a Japanese-American translator, stumbled upon a hidden chamber. Inside, they found an ancient book of forbidden rituals, containing grotesque drawings and incantations. A sense of foreboding settled over them as they realized the castle had been a site of occult practices that predated the war. As the storm raged outside, the team experienced unsettling visions, a haggard figure robed in darkness, ethereal whispers, and glimpses of their own deaths. Sergeant Harris dismissed these as hallucinations brought on by exhaustion and stress, but the groups. As the night wore on, the castle seemed to come alive with malevolent energy. The team's radio transmissions grew distorted, and shadows danced across the walls as if guided by invisible hands. Private Kovac uncovered a diary written by a previous occupant of the castle, detailing experiments that sought to harness a dark force for ultimate power. Suddenly, one of the soldiers, Corporal Schmidt, vanished without a trace. Frantic searches yielded no results, and the unsettling realization that they were not alone settled in. Their anxiety was further compounded by the discovery of a portrait gallery displaying eerie, lifelike paintings that seemed to watch their every move. As the team's morale crumbled under the weight of their eerie surroundings, they began to suspect that the castle itself was alive with malevolence. The radio transmissions grew clearer, but the voices on the other end were distorted and haunting. Private Ishikawa, driven by a deep sense of unease, deciphered the incantations from the ancient book. Their desperation led them to summon an entity, a twisted being that fed on their fears and regrets, assuming grotesque forms and taunting them with nightmarish visions. The entity's grip tightened, draining their strength and willpower as they struggled to discern reality from illusion. With time running out, the team resolved to confront the entity head-on. Drawing on their camaraderie and shared experiences, they ventured into the heart of the castle, determined to banish the malevolent force. As they confronted the entity, it took on monstrous form, a grotesque amalgamation of their deepest fears and insecurities. The battle against the entity was a harrowing struggle, each member of the team reliving their darkest moments in a relentless assault on their psyches. But with each memory confronted, the entity weakened. Private Kovac, driven by a fierce determination, used her knowledge of the ancient rituals to counter the entity's power. As the dawn broke, the entity's grip began to falter. With a final surge of strength, the team chanted a counter-incantation, shrouding the entity in a blinding light. In an explosive burst of energy, the entity was banished, and the castle trembled as if freed from a centuries-old curse. The team emerged from the castle, battered and scarred, but triumphant. They had faced horrors that defied the imagination, and through their unity, they had triumphed over a force of darkness that had threatened to consume them. As they made their way back through the storm, they knew that the castle's secrets would remain buried in the depths of history, a testament to the horrors that war and human ambition could unleash. It was 1971, and the Vietnam War was nearing its end, but the battle-worn soldiers of Alpha Company were about to face an enemy they couldn't have prepared for. The company was ordered to investigate reports of a mysterious disturbance in a desolate area known as Hallowed Hill, deep within enemy territory. The hill had a dark reputation, rumored to be cursed by ancient spirits. Captain Mitchell, a pragmatic leader, was skeptical of the stories but couldn't ignore the mounting reports of bizarre occurrences. The mission was to gather intel and determine if the enemy was exploiting superstitious beliefs to their advantage. As the choppers touched down near Hallowed Hill, a sense of foreboding hung in the humid air. As Alpha Company set up camp at the base of Hallowed Hill, the unsettling atmosphere became palpable. Strange noises echoed through the night, a combination of eerie whispers and unidentifiable cries. Private Walker, a skeptic among them, dismissed the sounds as the wind, but even he couldn't deny the chill that ran down his spine. During the day, the soldiers explored the hill. They discovered an abandoned temple, overgrown with vines and adorned with intricate carvings depicting ancient rituals. Inside, they found offerings left by the local population, sacrifices to appease the spirits. Sergeant Williams, a spiritual man, couldn't shake the feeling that they were intruding on something beyond their understanding. As night fell once again, the soldiers' unease deepened. Private Foster, a seasoned soldier, swore he saw ghostly figures moving among the trees, their eyes glowing like embers. When he raised the alarm, the apparitions vanished, leaving Foster questioning his own sanity. The following nights brought more unsettling encounters. Soldiers reported seeing their fallen comrades, the ones lost in previous battles, walking through the camp. Private Thompson, a young medic, was awakened by the touch of a cold hand reaching out from the darkness. He looked around, but there was no one there. Captain Mitchell, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, enlisted the help of a local interpreter. The interpreter, Nguyen, revealed a dark legend surrounding Hallowed Hill. It was said that during a past conflict, a brutal massacre had taken place on the hill, leading to the vengeful spirits of the fallen being trapped there, seeking retribution. As the company delved deeper into the history, they uncovered evidence of the atrocities committed during that time. The hill had indeed witnessed a gruesome battle, and the souls of the slain were said to be bound to it, unable to find peace. The company's attempts to leave Hallowed Hill were met with strange resistance. Their radios malfunctioned, and their choppers seemed to be plagued by inexplicable mechanical issues. It was as if the hill itself was trying to keep them there, as if the vengeful spirits sought to claim them. Captain Mitchell realized that they had to confront the past, to acknowledge the pain and suffering that had stained Hallowed Hill. They held a somber ceremony, honoring the fallen and seeking forgiveness for the bloodshed. As the sun set on the hill, a powerful wind swept through the area, carrying with it the echoes of a distant battle. With their act of contrition, the hold of Hallowed Hill seemed to weaken. The soldiers made a final, desperate push to escape, fighting through the malevolent forces that had bound them. As they reached the extraction point, they looked back at the hill, feeling the weight of the souls they had honored. The soldiers returned to base, forever changed by their encounter with the supernatural. They carried with them the memories of Hallowed Hill, a reminder that the scars of war extended beyond the physical, reaching into the realm of the unknown. They knew that they had paid a heavy price, both in blood and in the toll on their spirits, but they also felt a sense of redemption, knowing that they had confronted the darkness of Hallowed Hill and had, in some small way, given peace to the tormented souls that had haunted the hill for so long.